In this section of our tutorial videos, we're basically going to show you just the layout, how to log in, settings and all that kind of stuff really. So we'll start her up. Right, we've now logged in. It automatically loads the ISI website within the software, basically so you don't have to have web browsers open at any time, but you could direct to anywhere. You could go to Google if we wanted, and maybe you could have the Betfair website or Racing Post, Odds Checker within this page, and then you can move to the grid and ladder via these. It's just for speed really. Right, down here you've got your username, balance, your available balance, current exposure, your exposure limit, and this is your calls per second you're making to Betfair. And obviously this is any messages, this is stuff, software status updates such as bet placements, updates, cancellations, that kind of thing. You can switch between the UK wallet and the Aussie wallet by just clicking on this button here, and there you go, it's switched over to the Aussie wallet, and just click back and we're back at UK. So we'll go through the main menu up here. This is version 1.012, which is the latest one. So if you've got a lesser version than that, I really recommend you update to this. On your file menu, you've just basically exit the software. Options, you've got statistics. This basically shows you your API calls per second history throughout the software. So this will be a graph of all the calls you've had since you started the software. Obviously that's your minimum calls you've had, and that's the maximum calls you've had over the period the window's been opened. Preferences, we'll go through these a bit later on in the tools video, but basically these are your defaults. If you save these, then in the tools menu it will remain the same every time on startup. So startup wallet UK or Australian, do you want your profit and loss to be shown with your commission taken off or not? That's your calls per second. It's set to 10 by default. That's because Betfair request us to do that when we make the program. I usually set this around 18. Your last amount matched on the ladder, we'll show you that later on. Reverse the ladders, everyone will know what that means. Every program out there does the same. Default stakes for the grid and the ladders, we'll show you them later on in another video. Colours for the ladder. Sounds, you've got the choice of 3 sounds, up to 3 sounds, where you can have minutes and seconds countdown. So you could have sound number 1 goes off after 5 minutes 30 seconds, sound 2 4 minutes 30, and sound 3 with a minute to go. Then you can have a sound when the market goes in play and a sound when the market goes suspended. Performance, those of you with slow machines or struggling really to get the speed, you can disable the charts, which are these on the left, and disable the ladders if you only use the grid interface. It's entirely up to you. It just gives you a bit more CPU processor power for those, I would say, running on anything less than a Celeron, to be honest. But dual core or above is recommended. we'll go through these later on. API settings. This is basically just the calls intervals. So every 500 milliseconds, the first 3 prices will be called. Every 500 milliseconds, the rest of the market depth will be called. Count infos at 10,000 seconds, 10,000 milliseconds, which is 10 seconds. Traded volume at 5 seconds, charting at 2 seconds. You can change these. This again, depending on what settings you have. I mean, if you have these at optimum settings, then your computer really does need to be of a decent spec, dual core or above. I'd say personally. You can only go as low as 200, simply because Betfair limitations. Here you've got your market navigator. Everyone knows about this. It's no great surprise. Let's click on a market. Cheltenham. And you've got the graphs down here. So I added the graphs down here. It's just easier not to have windows open. So if you just want a quick glance, you can also switch to the Betfair graph if you want. Click on the chart, will refresh it. So if you got, obviously the real-time charts refresh automatically. Blue line is the last price matched, and the green line is a slow moving average. But with a Betfair graph, yeah, you have to click on them to refresh. Basically, I didn't really want an interval, or auto refresh interval on these, because a lot of people have bandwidth limits, and if you've got free charts auto refreshing every god knows when, it uses more of your download limit. Weight of money chart shows the first 3 runners in the markets. Weight of money, basically the first 3 runners here, that's runner 1, obviously Noble Prince, then down to Robinson, Collonge, reflect these ladders. So if I change this ladder to loosen my load, the chart will show down there, and the selection will change, and the weight of money selection will also change. I'll go into ladders and grids later on. I'm just gonna, this video is just consisting of the basic layouts. Then you've got your miniature grid on the left. So if you're on your ladders and you want a quick view of what other horses' prices are, this allows you to do that. Matched and match bets. It allows you to shrink the bet down, so it adds the bet ID for space mainly. Allows you to consolidate your bets. This button here will cancel all matched bets in the market with 1 click. Then you've got your tool menu, which allows for grid staking, which is here, or these buttons here. These buttons here will change that automatically. These buttons at the bottom reflect these buttons here, these stakes. So whatever you've changed these to, these will change. Then if I want my default stake on the grid to be 100, it'll change them to 100, 500, a grand. Same on the ladder. The preferences stakes represent these. You got triggers, you got tick offset, fill a kill, place stop at, we'll go into all this later. Confirm bets, auto center the ladder, so automatically recenters itself if it goes out of scope. Take SP, grid bets only. Keep in play, grid bets only. Back the field, later field. Again, we'll go into all that later. Yep, this is the back over round of all the prices. It's shown there as well. Layover round. Countdown timer, days, hours, minutes, seconds. Current time. This box here is your calls per second, which is down here as well on the status bar. And that's your market status. White means active, green is in play, red is suspended, silver is closed. So you've got all the indicators on there as well. Help menu basically takes you to various pages, and the pause API button, so if you go off and you make a brew, you can simply just press this button and all API activity will stop. 0 and 0, and then you just resume when you come back and it kicks on again. So that's really it in regards to the basics. It's fairly easy and self-explanatory really, but so wait for the next video. Thanks for watching.